cold as a razor blade, as tight as a tourniquet, like the skin on a dying man. I don't want a piece of the world. I want the whole world. I make my own rules because it's much easier that way. Trust me.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus D'Angelo, and we are back for another episode of the Snake Pit. And of course, I could never do it without the man himself, WWE Hall of Famer, master of the DDT, and a guy that I just spent a little time with out there in Cleveland at WrestleCon is Jake the Snake Roberts. What's going on, bro?
Hanging in there, man. You know what I do.
Man, you know, Jake, you and I haven't been able to record here for a couple of weeks. Things have been a little bit crazy, but you did get to see me in person. So I'm sure that scratched the itch, you know, because you would have missed me if you didn't get to see me for 2 weeks. I know that.
Yeah, but I got the double dose, man, with you and your little brother.
Well, forget about Dom. He fucked up that whole trip, really.
Oh, no shit.
Well, look, guys, if you want to plan a trip here coming this February, how about the Jake the Snake Hall of Fame cruise? Man, Jake, you're going to be there. Bushwhacker Luke is going to be involved, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I mean, what a star-studded crew to be going on a cruise with, right?
You know, 25 years ago, if you'd told me I was going to be doing a cruise, I'd have ran.
You don't like water?
No, I just don't. I'd be scared to go with the guys I'm going with.
Oh, man, especially Hacksaw. Rumor has it that you and Hacksaw had some good times back in the day.
We were a little bit wild and crazy and stupid.
well, maybe you can reclaim some of the more safe, wild, crazy, stupid fun on this cruise. It's happening February 23rd through 28th, and you can get your tickets right now. Check out Jake on social media so you can find that out. And by the way, Jake, all they have to do is say your name, Jake, and they save how much money?
$400.
I think it's $500. It might be 400. I don't know. Don't quote me on that shit, folks. Go and look it up. It's check Jake out on social media. You can follow him at Jake Snake DDT on Twitter, at Jake the Snake DDT on Instagram, and at Real Jake the Snake on Facebook. Trust me, as Jake might say, you do not want to miss this cruise.
No, it's going to be awesome, man. I encourage all those out there that to get on board, because not only will I be there, but my wife Cheryl, she's going to be there.
Unbelievable.
And Luke. I mean, if that's not a party, I don't know what's going to happen.
Thank goodness Cheryl is going to be there to keep you guys in line. So a voice of reason there. But guys, the other really cool thing about this cruise is Jake, I think it's like 200 people are going to be on like a section of the boat with you guys, and that's it. So
kind of close quarters for everybody, man.
Yeah, like an intimate atmosphere. Plus, there's like, you know, some excursions that you can go on with some of these WWE Hall of Famers and legends. And man, you just don't want to miss this one, guys. And those tickets are going to go fast. So make sure you go out of your way to check it out right now. And Jake, today we are checking out the second and final half of the story of your time in Calgary. The first episode, dude, was a blast, got incredible reviews, and people are chomping at the bit to hear about you with Harley Race, and especially one of the earliest ladder matches of all time with Big Daddy Ritter. You ready to get into this?
If we must.
If we must, man. A look back 45 years. This is going to be a blast. Here we go. When we last left off, we were talking about you living with Bret Hart, and you'd even team up with him once during this run against Mr. Hito and Mr. Sakurada. And thank you, in a time limit draw for the tag team titles. When you guys aren't in the ring, what were you doing on days off or nights when you weren't traveling? Calgary sounds like a frozen tundra, but there had to be some kind of nightlife.
It's a frozen tundra. We weren't partying much, man. We kind of kept our nose to the grindstone and kind of just wrestled, man.
So you guys weren't looking to go out and get nuts, even though Bret, I've heard, is a party guy himself in his own right, was ready to go out and have good times, but not so much during this period.
Not so much during this period, man. Couldn't afford to.
there is that other factor is, man, you guys were living light. You're not in the territory long before you begin working a program, though, with Big Daddy Ritter. For those who don't know, Ritter would move on to the Mid-South territory and, of course, the WWF as Junkyard Dog. At the time, Ritter was the man in Calgary, and he was holding the North American heavyweight title. Had you ever met Big Daddy Ritter before this first encounter, Jake?
Yes, I had.
Oh,
Funny that you mentioned it. I've been working in Nashville for a guy by the name of Nick Goulas,
okay.
who was famous for being cheap. Oh man, he was too much, man. But he had an office, and you had to walk down all these stairs, man, to the parking lot. And I'd walked in, and I'd told him I quit. I couldn't afford to stay there any longer. I'm talking, I was making $15-20 a night.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. So I'd quit, and I'm walking out of there, and I run into Ritter, and he's just coming in. And he's going in for his first meet with Goulas.
Did you warn him?
I warn him, and while we're warning him, we decide to fire up a doobie. So here we are smoking pot in his car. And then we go to get out. And when we get out, the smoke just bellows out. And lo and behold, we look up the stairs, and there's Nick Goulas standing at the top of the stairs.
Oh, boy.
What the hell are you two doing down there? Yeah.
Safe to assume that Ritter didn't get the job there?
He didn't last long.
That's not a great first impression with Goulas.
No, not at all.
I didn't know that you had worked for Nick Goulas. I mean, notoriously cheap, yes, and also that's where Jerry Jarrett got his start before creating his own territory over in Nashville. Yeah. Now, was Jerry Jarrett there when you were working for Goulas?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, okay. And how long would you say that you were in that territory?
8 weeks.
That's long enough at whatever, $15 a match. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Are you like sleeping in your car during that period, eating like potatoes? Like, how are you getting by?
Just by the skin of my teeth, man.
Dude.
It was really tough, man. It was really tough. And I had my wife and baby with me.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah. So
and like,
it was really tough, man.
Even with inflation factored in, I mean, you are making nothing, and certainly not enough to be able to support a family. So, yikes. Well, so much of Ritter's rap in his later career was his undeniable charisma and his magnetism. In 1979, as one of the top draws in the territory, was Ritter already starting to display some of those traits, or had he not quite found himself yet?
He was still looking to find himself. He was doing the pimp gimmick.
Was that his gimmick in Calgary?
Yeah. Yeah, he was a pimp.
It's a strong gimmick.
Yeah. Yeah, it was real strong up there in the Great North. People didn't appreciate it.
Oh, well, he was a heel, so I guess it works.
Yeah, it worked all right.
Was he getting like some nuclear heat up there in Calgary?
He was getting some heat.
Well, that's good.
But it was warm.
That's good for you coming in there as his opponent, because, man, all you've got to do is to do the right moves, get a little sympathy, and next thing you know, you guys are off to the races.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly what you do. Now, I've got here in the research from Andrew, it's like he's a fortune teller. It says, Sylvester was known to enjoy smoking marijuana. How often were you smoking with him? So we know that the first time you met him, it happened. Were you guys having some fun up there in Calgary as well?
Absolutely.
Now, you two are kind of birds of a feather in that regard. Does that mean that after this bus hits a moose and gets shut down, that you're traveling with Sylvester even though you're opposing him, or was that strictly forbidden?
Oh, no, we were riding together.
Okay. So the Stu wasn't too crazy adamant about heels and baby faces staying away from one another?
No, he just had us walk off the bus different times.
I gotcha. It's a big part of the reason that Sylvester will have a downfall, at least this is how, people kind of frame it, is that his drugs became an out of control issue for him in later years. At this time in Calgary, could you see any kind of a problem developing with Sylvester, or was he's still pretty fresh?
Not really. Still pretty fresh at it, man. And he hadn't got to the big problem yet.
So at this time, he was mainly smoking weed.
Yeah, just smoking some weed, man. That was it.
Kind of a weird question, Jake. Maybe you can shed some light on it. But like, everybody's seen the movie Scarface, and they kind of position that as like the start of the cocaine pandemic, or whatever you want to call it, here in America. Up in Calgary, 1979. Are guys able to get their hands on cocaine, or is that not even a factor yet?
Well, we couldn't afford to up there.
There's that too. At whatever, $500 a week and trying to support yourself. Yeah, probably not a ton of extra money.
No.
Well, the first two matches between you two took place in March, and on April 6, 1979, you defeat Ritter for the North American title. And as a reminder, you just arrived in the territory in February, and after 2 months, you are their champion and top guy. What do you remember about being thrust into this high-profile spot so early in your run in Calgary?
Oh, it was great, man. I mean, people were hot for me. They were really with it.
Anything about the match or like Stu Hart coming to you about winning the title stand out to you?
I can't remember that far back, bro. I wish I could, but I can't.
It's 45 years ago, so it's understandable. But man, it's again, it really kind of speaks to you and how well you were developing. That Stu Hart is like, okay, well, this guy's brand new to my territory, but I'm putting the big belt on him.
Yeah, it was quite a coup for me, man.
And, as we mentioned on the last episode, when you left Kansas City, you were looking to reinvent yourself. Went to Vancouver and became a main eventer. And now in Calgary, you're at the pinnacle. What do you attribute this instant kind of success to?
Just changing that character and going with it, not being afraid to try new things. I was so blind back in Kansas City, man. Like I said, I used to vapor lock every time I got in the ring.
Yeah.
But there was no more of that. Those times were over. I felt really comfortable in the ring. And feeling comfortable tends to breed success, man.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think a lot of people will hear that and say like, well, Jake is a second generation star. Being in the ring should be nothing really new to him. But the fact of the matter is that you kind of felt hindered by the fact that you had to live in your father's shadow, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was tough because he didn't make everybody happy. Always that group of guys he didn't make happy, or the guys that he pissed off, or guys that he used as stepping stones. And they were still out there. And I ran across a few of them. But by the time I got to Calgary, man, everything was pretty much going the right way. And I found it very easy to do things in the ring. Very comfortable.
Do you think without this move to Vancouver and then Calgary that you'd be sitting here today as a WWE Hall of Famer?
No, if those two hadn't happened, I'd have never made it here.
Wow. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, I give a lot to Stu Hart, man, for giving me the opportunity in Calgary to show something. And they had a lot of faith in me. Even later, I talked to the Hart boys, and they would tell me that, our dad said you were going to be a star, even way back then. But nobody certainly could project what I finally wound up being. But pretty awesome, man.
Okay, guys, let's take a quick minute to talk about our sponsor, Mando. Holy smokes, I love these guys. And there's a good reason why. If you're like me, you end up in the airport quite a bit. And I always come up with this conundrum where I'm like, I don't know what to pack. I pack too much. Sometimes I don't pack enough. My suitcase will exceed the weight limit. And don't even get me started on hygiene products. Do I bring the little shampoo? Do I need a whole face wash? Body wash? Is the hotel I'm going to be going to, are they providing any of this stuff? Do I pour my shampoo into that tiny little travel size bottle? Where do I even get those things? It's such a mess trying to get yourself gathered that Mando has provided me with one solution. I was able to simplify my travel with Mando's 4-in-1 acidified cleansing bar. Guys, I wish you could be here to smell this as I open this box up. You can see it was kind of pre-opened, but every time I open it back up, I get this awesome, amazing smell of these Mando products. And here we go. Here's the acidified cleansing bar that we were talking about just now. This thing is incredible. It's a 5-ounce bar that does the work of a shampoo, face wash, body wash, and deodorant. I mean, look, there's always those jokes out there about how guys like, you know, a 16-in-1 body wash. Well, that's for real. And they've actually got you pretty well covered on this thing. This acidified cleansing bar smells absolutely amazing, so fresh, and it's clinically proven to control body odor for 24 hours. Mando's acidified cleansing bar is formulated with a gentle alpha hydroxy acid that stops odor at the source. Regular soap can't do that because the pH is too high. Now look, I don't know what all that stuff means, alpha hydroxy or pH levels or whatever. I'm no scientist or anything. What I do know though is that I use this after I have a really hard day at the gym or after I'm done training at the wrestling facility, and it works. It's going to simplify your hygiene routine, and really when you take a trip, it's the only thing you need to pack. That's what I've been taking with me anytime I go on the road, which is fairly often, and it has made my life so incredibly easy. You guys have already heard me talk about the bourbon leather. That is one of my favorite smells. It's sweet, sophisticated, but Mount Fuji, which is what this bar is, that's got a fresh woodsy type smell. And then there's the Pro Sport, which is the scent that they use on the Invisible Cream deodorant. Guys, they've got so many great options and so many ways to keep yourself smelling fresh. Truly, I cannot recommend Mando strongly enough. I've also got the guys at the wrestling training facility on it, and they all swear by it. So if you can get a bunch of wrestlers to agree that this is the way to go so you don't smell awful after a hard training session, you know that it's going to work for you. Not to mention, it checks every other box too. It's a whole body deodorant, so it's safe to use anywhere on your body. We're talking about pits, packages, belly buttons, butt cracks, stinky crevices, stomach folds, and feet. It's created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It's aluminum-free, baking soda-free, cruelty-free, dye-free, and vegan. I mean, honestly, there are no negatives to using this product. It's one of my favorite things that I use, and I really mean this. It doesn't matter if they continue to sponsor the podcast or not. I'm going to be a Mando guy for the rest of my life. I absolutely love this product. And by the way, their starter pack is absolutely perfect for new customers. If you're not familiar with the Mando line, this is where you begin. Grab this starter pack. It comes with solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash or deodorant wipes. I very strongly recommend that you guys try out the acidified body wash and that bourbon leather scent. And by the way, when it's all said and done, you get free shipping. Lucky for you, I've got a discount code, and it's going to help you get hooked up on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% of your starter pack. All you've got to do is use code SNAKE at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com, shopmando.com, and use that code SNAKE. Again, you're going to save $5 off that starter pack. 40% of the value of that starter pack gone right then and there, and you get free shipping. Come on, guys, you don't stand to lose anything. You've got to try Mando, the best smelling whole body deodorant on the market. You know, Stu wasn't paying you a ton of cash, but he did pay you an opportunity, which is sometimes more valuable.
Yeah, he did. He gave me the opportunity to hone my skills, man.
Well, after winning the title from Ritter, you'd work several matches against Hercules Ayala, and that is a name I am not familiar with, Jake. Ayala was of Puerto Rican descent, spent 8 years working in Canada before returning to Puerto Rico in 1985, where eventually he turned heel and worked a blood feud against territory owner Carlos Colon. Here in Calgary, he's your first title defense. Any memories of Hercules Ayala?
I do remember him, you know, and Hercules Ayala also went to Mid-South.
Did he really?
Yeah, he went to Mid-South after he left Calgary.
Man, so this guy was fairly well traveled like yourself.
Yeah, he'd been around. He knew what he was doing in the ring.
Well, you guys had a pretty interesting match, and if somebody would have asked me if Jake Roberts had been in this kind of match, I would have bet against it. In May, you and Ayala blew off the relatively short feud with a strap match. Jake, what do you think of working a strap match?
I enjoyed that strap, man.
Did you really?
Yeah, I like being hit with that. Yeah, what the hell's wrong with me, man? But no, a strap match, there's a lot to it. But yeah, getting hit with is part of it. But we certainly didn't shy away from it, you know. But we both exchanged some leather on the other one's behind and back. But yeah, good times.
I think a lot of fans would say like, oh well, they gimmick the way that they hit it or something. There's really no way to gimmick a strap, right?
No, you got to lay it in.
Is it one of those things where it's like just go to town and apologize afterwards, or how does that go?
Basically, just do what you got to do, and you can say you're sorry later.
Ooh, man, you get cut by the strap?
Oh yeah,
Brutal.
yeah. We were both bloody messes.
Well, another wrestler you encountered during this time is Tom Billington, better known to wrestling fans as Dynamite Kid. In Calgary, Dynamite was one of Stu Hart's biggest stars. Many people point to him and how creative he was in the ring and say that, he really did influence a lot of modern wrestling. He gets a lot of credit for it. And now, what do you think of Dynamite when you first met him?
He was unbelievable, man. Just a breath of fresh air, just something that you'd never seen before. The things that he were doing, you'd never seen him before. And in fact, when I left Calgary, I tried to get Bill Watts to hire him.
Really?
And Bill Watts asked me how big he was, and I told him, he said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not kidding you, man. This guy is nothing but money." And Bill Watts blew him off.
Yikes. I bet a couple of years later, Bill was regretting that.
I guess he was.
Well, now, we all hear that Tom could be a prickly asshole. How did he treat you?
He was all right with me. He was all right with me. In fact, his apartment was above my apartment.
Like you and Brett live below him?
No, Brett and I had already split up.
Oh, okay. Couldn't take living with him anymore.
No, that didn't last a long time.
I'd imagine after Stu came over and stretched him, you were like, well, I got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, it's pretty much over after that.
Just a matter of time. What was it like living below Dynamite? Had he started to develop his bad habits yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
He just drank a lot.
Did he have a reputation? Like, obviously, his reputation precedes him nowadays, as far as like his behavior, where super, super talented guy, but pretty much unanimously, most people, if you ask him, like, hey, how was he outside of the ring? Like, people say he was a fucking prick. And had he developed a reputation like that with other people, but he was good to you, or like, what did you know about him up to this point?
He was still pretty even keel, I mean, he would do things with Brett in the ring that was pretty rough. But Brett had him coming because he was potato and Dynamite.
Mm.
So Dynamite would say, "Jake, you got me tonight. What should I do?" Oh, man.
And your response is give it back?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
A lot of awful things would come out about Dynamite, and I hope that most fans can kind of separate the art from the artist whenever it comes to him. Jake, do you feel that he deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I do too. I hope he makes it there someday. They can look past some of his outside the ring stuff and just focus on what he contributed to the business, which is great. Yeah. Well, in July 1979, you were approaching the end of your run in Calgary, and on the way, you'd work 2 matches against the NWA World Heavyweight Champion and the toughest man to ever walk God's green earth. We're talking about Harley Race. Jake, to say that this is a big opportunity would be an understatement, wouldn't it?
Oh, it was incredible, man. I couldn't believe when I found out that I was going to be wrestling him. It was really a magic moment. And I was scared to death.
I cannot begin to imagine.
Because I just didn't feel like I would measure up to it.
Mm-hmm.
But that just goes to show you how good he was. He made me look like $1 million.
What kind of reputation did Harley have in wrestling as far as you knew up to this point? Like, was he already at that point where he's like this super, super upper echelon, highly respected performer?
Absolutely.
And when you hear that you're going to be working a match for the NWA title, I mean, this is your first shot ever at the NWA title, right?
Right.
Um, Obviously nervousness, but did you feel like you were going to be able to stand in there and compete with a guy like Harley Race?
I would hope. I had my fingers crossed that I would, but I didn't see how I could. But much to my dismay, that night they got us together and said, "We want you to go Broadway."
Oh man.
What? 60 minutes through?
Holy shit.
Holy fuck. And that's what we did, 60 minutes through.
Had you ever gone 60 minutes before?
No.
What was it like? Obviously, I've just started wrestling, and so stepping into the ring for 10 minutes is like, it's exhausting. It really takes a toll on your body. Like, what do you do to get ready for when they tell you, hey, you're going to wrestle for 60 minutes?
You pray a lot. Do pray a lot, man, because getting in the ring for 60 minutes takes a little bit of work. A lot of work. And thank God I had somebody like Harley Race to lead me through it. You know, he led me through the thing, and that was pretty awesome.
Now, I have to imagine there's a lot of rest holds and stuff like that to give both of you. You were both smokers at the time, so I've got to imagine you're both kind of getting winded here and there and just grab a hold and wait, right?
Yeah.
Well, you actually worked 2 matches with Harley during this period. He made a visit to the territory, and the first one is in Butte, Montana, which is
Butte, Butte, Montana.
I was like, what a weird name for a town, Butte, Montana. Okay, you guys were in Butte, Montana, and then you'd work again 2 days later in Calgary on July 13th. Before you step into the ring, like again, you're scared. This is nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And Harley he's this guy with this great reputation. You're still fairly new to the business. Are you coming up to him before the match like, hey, what would you like to do tonight, Mr. Racer? How does that go?
I just kept my mouth shut.
Okay. So you go up to him, shake his hand, introduce yourself, and just trust that he's going to call it all in the ring.
Yep.
Okay, guys, got to hit the pause button here. I've got to tell you about Green Chef. Look, it's back to school season, and you know that can set you back on your nutrition. All of a sudden, you're very busy. The kids are coming home late. You've got different events that you've got to go to. And so what falls by the wayside? Your diet, right? You end up going to fast food. You end up taking little shortcuts here and there. And all of a sudden, all the progress that you've made is gone. Well, look, Green Chef is here, and they're going to make it easy to stick to your healthy eating habits with a new, more flexible menu featuring over 35 customizable recipe options every single week. New options including doubling your portion of protein or veggies or swapping to a plant-based protein like organic tofu, which I love. If you're dairy-free, gluten-free, vegetarian, or vegan, Green Chef has got over 15 recipes every week to support those lifestyles and much more. You'll also find over 15 weekly recipes that are ready in 25 minutes or less, so you'll have the power to tailor the menu to your needs, satisfying and nourishing everyone in your family in about 30 minutes. I mean, how critical is that when it comes to being able to save on time? 25 minutes to prep a meal for everybody, you cannot beat it. You can take your clean routine further with 2 times the support. Green Chef's healthiest menu ever and access to thousands of top-rated gyms and fitness studios worldwide from ClassPass. For a limited time, new Green Chef subscribers will also receive 50 free credits to use at ClassPass. That's about a month's worth of membership. And guys, if you're like me, you're trying to dial in your diet and your physique, right? And they say that if you really want to have a good physique, diet's like 80% of it. So you really got to watch what you're putting into your body, and you've got to have access to a gym. And this is both of them. If you are not trying Green Chef, there has literally never been a better time to do it. You guys have got to take advantage of this. Also, if you're trying to pack on some muscle like me, customers have the option to upgrade to proteins. You can get organic chicken, fair trade barramundi, and wild-caught sockeye salmon. You've got that on top of quality whole foods with limited processed ingredients and organic farm fresh produce in every box. I mean, it's no wonder the Green Chef is a #1 meal kit for clean eating. I mean, who says that eating clean can't taste good, right? Green Chef recipes are going to have you swooning with every bite. Green Chef has over 80 weekly menu and market options to satisfy everybody's taste buds. Each box is packed with foods that you can feel good about, like whole fruits and vegetables, plus lean protein and whole grain options. All of that on top of the fact that it's just fun to make. You know, I've said this before on the show, and it's true. My wife and I honestly look forward to kind of partnering up to put these meals together. She'll take one duty, I'll take another duty, and we kind of meet in the middle, and it's fun. You know, she's been watching that show on FX, The Bear, where it's everybody saying yes chef to each other, and we'll goof around with each other shouting yes chef in the kitchen as we're putting these meals together, and it's just a really fun experience, a great way to unwind after a busy work day, and then boom, you get a delicious healthy meal at the end of it all. It's time for you guys to find out what I'm talking about. Go to greenchef.com/snakepit50 for 50% off your first box plus 50 free credits with ClassPass. That's code SnakePit50 at greenchef.com/snakepit50 to get 50% off your first box plus 50 free ClassPass credits. Seriously, guys, even just one time, you want to give this product a try. I know that you guys are going to love it like I do, and you're going to find out for yourselves why Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. Well, Harley's he's a big star during this time, but you're the local hero. Was the audience booing him as they were supposed to, or was his star too bright at the time?
Yeah, they were booing him.
Okay. Well, that means that you're doing your job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, when these matches are over, is Harley taking the time to come up to you and tell you what you did right or wrong, or how does that look?
Yeah, he did, man. He came and talked to me after the show, man, and was quite impressed. He said my timing was good, that I fought back at the right times. I sold at the right times. I showed him a little spark. So it was a good feeling, man.
And he's of that old school mindset, and this is something I'm really coming to learn right now with ring veterans, is like they won't give you anything. You've got to kind of take some stuff when you're in the ring, with them, right?
Oh yeah.
So when he tells you that you fought back at the right times, that means he'll give you a little opening, and if you don't see it, he'll just fucking eat you alive, but you would see it and take advantage of it.
Yep.
Good stuff, man. The fact that you're able to hang in there with Harley Race that early in your career, just very impressive. And again, really speaks to the fact that you were beginning to find yourself as a performer during this time.
Well, it didn't shock anybody anymore besides me. It was
Awesome.
That I was able to do it. I was shocked that I was able to do 60 minutes. I was shocked that I hung in there and made it happen. And I was amazed at what he could do with somebody. You know, he can make them look so good and them not be even close to what he's throwing out there.
Wow. Just like the way he would sell for you, or what kind of stuff was he doing?
The way he would sell for me, the way he would set things up. This is the whole thing, man.
In later years, you'd spend time around Harley, I'm sure many occasions, and certainly in the WWF. Did you and he ever discuss these early matches?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He told me he always knew I was going to make it.
Holy shit. What a great thing to hear from a guy like Harley Race.
It was, man.
Well, it's a big milestone in your career for sure. Coming out of it, would you say that working with him taught you anything or made you better?
Oh, he taught me a shit ton, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Timing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just the whole thing, man. It was a work of art.
They always say the only way for you to get better is to step into the ring with somebody who's better than you are, and sounds like that's what happened that night.
Absolutely it, too. That's the truth.
After the match with Race, you wrapped your feud with Big Daddy Ritter in a $1,000 ladder match in Calgary. We have the final moments of that match for our only clip this week.
Wrong by wrong. Ritter gets his other shoe. think he's going to use it for a club. Oh, he jams it to the throat. There's no disqualifications, I should mention, in that match. And of course, I think that's pretty obvious. Ritter getting ready to go up.
Go, Jake, go, Chance.
Ritter getting up. Wacko! Got him on the back and down he comes. Down he comes. Roberts working at close range now. Off those ropes, something's got to give here. They both go down. Ritter trying to get up. Oh, Roberts is tangled up in the ropes. Ritter's going up the ladder. Roberts can't get out of the ropes. He can't. It's all over. It's all over. Ritter has the belt. Roberts got tangled in the ropes. Ritter's got the belt. Ritter's got the $1,000. Ritter is the North American heavyweight champion. And he still wants to give out some punishment to Roberts, but it's all over.
All right, man. There it was. You lose the North American title and you lose that $1,000.
Yeah.
But man, more interestingly, Jake, had you ever heard of a ladder match before you approached about this one?
Absolutely not.
What are your initial thoughts when you hear about this concept?
Oh my God, I thought it was fucking crazy. And it was crazy. Did you see the ladder we used?
Yes. So look, I've got to talk about it for our listening audience. Not everybody's watching this on YouTube. In most ladder matches, you'll get what's called an A-frame ladder, where if you look at it from the side, it looks like an A. This was a leaning ladder, like a ladder that you'd lean against something. What was it leaning on, Jake?
A rafter.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
And
I wasn't going up that fucking thing. No way in hell.
you made it up about like 3 or 4 rungs and then smartly got the hell off of it.
Damn right I did.
There's also a guy standing behind the ladder, holding it in place so it doesn't slide.
Yeah. Yeah. So that shows you how steady it was.
Right. And you got to go up there in theory and claim that $1,000. No fucking way.
Yeah, money doesn't mean that much to me.
Hell no. Man, absolutely wild that you were involved in this. And Jake, I think that if this was not the first, it was only the second ladder match ever in the history of professional wrestling. And there you are defending a title in it against another guy who go on to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, pretty historic moment really in wrestling.
Yeah, it was, man. It was a moment that they wrote down. And yeah, I like to forget about it myself.
I don't blame you. Now, your last match in Calgary takes place on August 3rd, and yourself and Keith Hart will take on Mr. Hito and Mr. Sakurada. We've actually, there's a photo of this exact match that's out there. I'm going to share it on social media here this coming week. It's a really cool looking photo where you're tied up in the ropes, and it looks like a desperate moment. But I had seen that photo a few years ago and didn't realize that this was it. You're completely done in Calgary. What can you tell us about how the end of your time in Calgary came about?
Oh, man, it was just time for me to go, bro. You know, I had run the gamut. I'd worked with Harley. I'd done this. I'd done that. And I needed to go home. It'd been a long time since I'd been home. You know, I hadn't been home for Vancouver.
So that's 8 months in Vancouver, and then we're talking about it's February until January or July of this year. There's another 5 months, so that's a long time without being able to be in your own home.
Yeah, Yeah, it was well past time to be home.
So now, all that being said, you've just experienced the greatest success of your career up here in Stu Hart's territory. Was there any hesitation to saying, like, man, maybe I should just bring my family up here?
No, hell no. Hell no.
You don't think your wife at the time would have liked the frozen tundra?
You know, I remember being up there and making the decision to leave. And then the last week that I'm there, this is July now, it snows.
Fuck that.
Man, I'm so fucking out of here. Are you kidding me?
Oh, man. Well, it's notable that I believe, and I think, I can't remember if it's you that told me this or if I heard it somewhere else. Did you and JYD leave the territory, like literally in the same car together and leave the territory?
No.
Okay.
No,
But he left at like the same time as you, though, right?
no, he left a few weeks after.
Gotcha. And you were both headed south to try out Bill Watts' new territory that he had just acquired.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is Mid-South Wrestling. We'll cover your time in Mid-South here coming up. Final question as we wrap up the story of your time in Stampede. How would you sum up your time in the territory and what it meant to you, Jake?
Well, it was an opportunity that, you know, that I took and made the best of it. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was an opportunity to learn, to hone my skills, to make myself more believable. And that's what I did. So it was a great success. I mean, the fact that I wrestled Harley Race tells you that it was very successful. The fact that I was a North American champion tells you I was successful. So all things said and be done, I accomplished quite a bit in the 5.5 months I was there.
Man, you certainly did. And as we discussed earlier in the episode, truly like a linchpin moment in your career, this time that you spent in Calgary. It's like, I don't think that can be emphasized strongly enough that Jake the Snake, as we all came to know him in the WWF, may not have ever come to be without this. So, man, what a blast looking back on this. I appreciate you talking to me about 45 years ago in Stampede and educating us on your career a little bit. We'll be back to do more of it next week. And in the meantime, man, I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, my brother. Take care, man.
All right, guys, you know what time it is now. I've got to remind you that if you're looking to attract that 25 to 54-year-old male demographic to your product or service, you got to hit advertisewithsnake.com. Jake is back on TV. And by the way, he's booked up for a very busy 2024, going city to city, meeting and talking to loyal fans. And you can get him to put over your stuff to that demographic. If you want some proof it works, just listen to our show, pal. We routinely advertise for the same businesses because they know that what we do here works. Head to advertisewithsnake.com. Get teamed up with the legendary Jake the Snake Roberts. If you want to hook that special someone up with a really unique gift, you got to get over to cameo.com/Jake Snake. You'll get a personal message from the legendary Jake Roberts. Here's a recent review from an anonymous source. Such a thoughtful, kind, and fun message. My brother loved it. Much appreciated. Guys, you get these cameos quickly, and you get a bunch of effort from one of the very best doing it. Jake loves doing them, and he loves the chance to interact with you guys, his fans. And if you're a lifelong fan, you've got to check it out. Again, it's cameo.com/Jake Snake. Order yours today. Check us out on YouTube. It's youtube.com/@SnakePitPod. You get some bite-sized clips from the show, highlights, and exclusive podcasts. Our page is growing, and we want your help to grow more. Please get over there. Get subscribed. Hit that notifications bell. You guys are going to love all the content we have there. Obviously, you get the video version of this podcast, but also just a ton of clips. And like I said, every once in a while, we're dropping some exclusive bonus episodes with somebody to give even more context on the stories that Jake has got to tell here on the show. So again, it's youtube.com/@SnakePitPod. Go and get subscribed. Hey, speaking of subscribing, if you're enjoying the Snake Pit on your podcast app, please subscribe, leave us a 5-star review there. Really fast, easy way to support our show and helps us to continue to deliver this great content to all of you guys every single week. Also, speaking of subscribing, how about you go and become a member with One True Sport? Guys, we've got 3 different tiers of membership. Starts at $7.99, but the top tier, $39.99, super affordable, especially compared to our competitors. And you get all the same great stuff. Like I said before, we've got Dustin Rhodes. He did our first Q&A over there, which was exclusive for our top tier membership, which is called the Traveling Champions. And we've got another huge Q&A guest coming on this month. We've just got so much great, incredible content there. We've got bonus content from some of our guys every single month. We've got guests coming on. We've got all sorts of great stuff that we just want you to come and be part of. So please go to onetruesporttv.com. That's our YouTube page, but it's also where you sign up to become a member. Get signed up, and I think you're really going to enjoy what we have to offer. Catch Jake on X at JakeSnakeDDT, on Instagram at JakeTheSnakeDDT, and on Facebook at Real Jake the Snake. You can follow me at Marcus P. D'Angelo on X. And by the way, again, if you want to reach out to me, that's the best spot for it. I'm most active on X. You can send me a DM there. My DMs are open. So if you have a question for Ask Jake Anything, which we've got coming up next, if you have any comments about the show, if you just want to reach out and say hi, that's where you do it. Again, it's Marcus P. D'Angelo on X. I'd love to have any interaction with you guys. All right, guys, that is going to do it, man. What an absolute blast looking back at Jake's time in Calgary 45 years ago, which is wild. And, man, you can find a lot of these matches online, so please go out of your way to check them all out, because you can really see the progression of Jake the Snake Roberts during this period in his career. And we're going to cover more periods in his career coming up. Next week, it's Ask Jake Anything, but then we're on the move because it is SummerSlam season. So I'll look forward to seeing you guys next time right here on The Snake Pit.